It is now Van Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the various races of the Pathfinder role-playing game system. Of course, we've been going over the more unusual ones. Not your elves, your dwarves, your halflings, but those races that are a lot less played and maybe you don't know about as much, and you might want to learn a little bit about them, see if it's a race that's set for you for one of your characters. So today I have for you the Hobgoblin. Now, the Hobgoblins are a militaristic race. They fuel their wars through their conquests and their raids. They build a slave base that can work for them in order to build their various armaments and bastions that they can use to continue the battles. They are an ambitious race, but also an envious one. They see to better themselves through the conquest, the destruction, the abuse of others. Now, this oftentimes means to each other. But when it comes to fighting others, they will put down these petty differences that they have between each other and take up arms as a unified force against any threat against them. They, of course, have little love or like of one another, but even more so to those of the outsiders, those that aren't of their own society. Their days consist, of course, working for those above them, demoralizing those below them, and seeking opportunities for great glory and increasing their own stations in life. Hobgoblins are burly and muscular, standing slightly taller than your average human, with kind of elongated arms and shorter legs that give them this kind of like ape-like appearance. Their skin is a sickly green-gray, which, when long exposed to the sun, darkens to this kind of dark green color. They have eyes that burn a fiery red or orange, and they have this kind of broad face with these very pointy ears that kind of gives them a almost feline appearance to their face. Hobgoblins have no facial hair, and even the females of their species, bald on top. They have an interesting look that, if you would scale them down as size, they would look remarkably similar to their goblin cousins. Now, hobgoblins live in a complete militaristic society. They all go to a hobgoblin general who is at the top of this society. Every single one of them receives military training, and those that excel at it, of course, enter into the military. Others who, after the training, don't seem to excel, they're put to the more menial tasks of their society. Those that don't go into military service, well, they're a little better off than the slaves. They aren't treated very well. It's a society based on merit, though, so they are very egalitarian, even. Gender and birth mean nothing to the average hobgoblin. Most of the time, it is based solely upon their merit, upon their military might as to what station they hit within their lives. Hobgoblins skew attachments, even to their young. The act of mating is more of a convenience done between those of similar social status. There is no attachment between them, and babies are taken away at a very young age, weaned after only a few weeks from their mothers. By the age of 6 months, hobgoblin child has learned to take care of themselves and learn to talk. After that, it is 14 years of brutal militaristic training with no fun, until they are ready to theoretically enter into hobgoblin society, either as a soldier of some kind, or as one of the menials. Hobgoblins believe nothing more than an ordered and hierarchical society. They love that, so they tend towards lawful more than anything. Now, not inherently evil, the kind of cruel and brutal training that fills their early years does tend to push many a hobgoblin towards the evil alignments. Good aligned hobgoblins do exist, but they are usually found those that were raised by other cultures. And even far and fewer are those that are chaotic. Oftentimes those are individuals that have been exiled from the main group. Religion tends to form that in kind of area of non-militaristic pursuits, so it doesn't really matter the majority of hobgoblins. Most of the time it's just lip service to some form of deity, but those that do specifically venerate them oftentimes turn towards tyrannical deities or devils for their worship. Hobgoblin adventurers tend to be iconoclasts, loners who really couldn't fit in with that strict hierarchical lifestyle, or those that fled from the society because they didn't want to show cowardice and weakness, and whatever role that they sort of fit into in life oftentimes associated with that. Granted, some of these hobgoblins dream of bringing back wealth and stories of glory to represent the great things that they've done back to the society and sort of be welcomed back to it. There are a few hobgoblin generals that have sent out youths to the world for just this matter, to become great adventurers, to get great training and come back as heroes of the hobgoblin people. Hobgoblins lean towards more martial classes. Cavaliers, fighters, monks, rogues. All of these fit fairly well within the hobgoblin causes. The arcane arts are generally distrusted, so you do not see a lot of arcane spell-casting hobgoblins within their society. They're sort of pushed away. Though there is an exception for alchemists because of things such as bombs, pyroclastic talents. That is actually well respected in a way. So it is the exception amongst all the other arcane classes when it comes to respect within Hobgoblin society. Even then, it's a thin respect for the Hobgoblin alchemist. So when we talk about what a Hobgoblin gets, what you get to play a Hobgoblin, you get a bonus to Dexterity and Constitution. They just get 2 bonus stats. They're a Goblinoid, a Humanoid, Medium, 30 feet of movement, basic standards for many races. They only have 2 other abilities. Sneaky, gaining a bonus to Stealth, and Dark Vision. They're a very simple race to play. Now, a number of their alternate racial traces, of course, replaces the skill bonus from Sneaky with some other kind of skill bonus, whether it be to things such as Intimidate, Diplomacy, or others are all options that exist. Also, a number of replacement traits give bonuses to CMB, CMD type checks, certain types of combat maneuvers. So certain ones might give bonuses to disarm or trip or the like. The main alternate racial trait I want to talk about is one that replaces your dark vision with 1 natural armor. Scarred. That one is a pretty decent one. The rest of them, it depends on the type of maneuvers and the type of skills you want, and then they might be helpful to you. Now, for favored class options, favored class bonuses, the best one, of course, would be the Alchemist one. You get extra bombs. Though there are some other favored class options. Extra grit for gunslingers, and extra damage to a favored enemy of your choice if you are a ranger. All 3 of these are fairly decent favored class options that you can choose instead of your normal skill or hit point when you come to playing a Hobgoblin. Now, let's talk about some racial feats. Now, I'm not going to go into any of the racial feats in particular. Many of them deal with a sort of teamwork setup for hobgoblins, that if you're around other hobgoblins, you have a bonus. Hobgoblin Discipline gives you a morale bonus to those saves, and there are a number of feats based upon that are working with a team of hobgoblins. The other side of things is Demoralizing Lash. It's basically using whips to do different things and intimidating things with others. Again, there's another small chain of hobgoblin feats that you might want to get to make your hobgoblin more hobgoblin-y? Sure, we'll use that as a language. But anyway, that's it for today. So, I introduce you to a militaristic, warlike race that has a very cruel, hate-filled upbringing that oftentimes fills them with so much hate, of course you go evil. The Hobgoblin. Hobgoblins are actually fairly interesting characters to play, whether you play to the fact that you are part of the society or some kind of outcast that isn't connected but knows of what's happened to the society, knows a sort of history to the upbringing that they deny. Both would be very interesting characters to try to play and meld into a game. And at most you'd be lawful evil if you're just playing pure Hobgoblin, and that usually works with others. But I hope you're having a great day. If you've had a Hobgoblin character you've played, I have, and you want to share a story with me in the comments below, I love to hear stories of all these different characters you've played, interesting adventures you've gone on. Please just do so. Regardless, though, Until the next time, I bid you farewell.